guys and welcome to my first vlog. So to start things off, my name's Ella. I've got an Instagram of 5,400 followers and I put on my Instagram a poll whether people wanted to see me vlog about my upcoming nose job, and it got 64% yes and obviously the rest no. So I went with it and I thought I'd do a first vlog and put it on as my first video on my YouTube. So about my nose job. So basically I've had rhinitis since I was born probably. I've been taking loratadine medication. It was like a liquid like cough syrup basically since I was 7 to cure my allergies, and then since then I've taken loads of different medications. I've taken antihistamines, I've taken nasal sprays, I've taken over-the-counter stuff, I've taken stuff that you can get from Poundland for £1, you know. Nothing has ever worked. Loratadine didn't work. Nothing did. Nothing. I've tried everything. Literally every single nose spray you can think of. And then I eventually came across Benadryl. So Benadryl's about £4. You get about 12 tablets. And it worked. So I was like, yes, okay, that's fine. I've found something finally. Bit pricey at £4 compared to my usual £1 Poundland antihistamines. And I thought I'll just continue with this. It's fine, you know. But then as time went on, I became a bit susceptible to it. So I would take one in the morning and I'd still be sneezing, I'd still be full of cold, you know, it was still awful basically. So I was like, right, this isn't working, I'll go back to the doctors again. And Dr. Jarvis had told me that I tried every single nasal spray, every single tablet, loratadine, you name it, antihistamine, I tried all of them. So there was no point, you know. So my GP, Dr. Jarvis, referred me to Doncaster Hospital to go to the ENT department. So I went, obviously he made me an appointment and I went. I waited for about 30 to 40 minutes in the waiting room with my nan for me to go in, speak to ENT person for a minute. That was literally it, a minute. So he sent me in and then sent me out again. And I was just getting annoyed with this. So I decided to go to a private hospital just opposite. So it was called Ramsay's Healthcare. And they were having an open day to meet the surgeon to do nose jobs. So I was like, right, I'm going to go meet this surgeon. I'm going to see what he says. So he puts a camera up my nose, says I have a deviated septum, says that it'll cost £5,000 plus, including hospital fees. I'll have to get an x-ray done, you name it, I'll have to pay a lot of money just to sort my nose, just so I can breathe out of both my nostrils, as well as my allergy obviously. And then obviously I've got another appointment booked with the ENT. So this time with the ENT I'm like, right, I'm going to be waiting hours, minutes, you know, to get into this appointment, and I'll be in there for a minute and I'll be sent out again. But this time it was different. So I went with my dad. I've been put on the waiting list for 2 years to have this surgery done basically. So it's called septorhinoplasty. I'll explain what that is in a bit. And I go in with my dad to Dr. Akaban, he's called, and he actually says, right, you know, we're going to give you surgery. And I was like, what? You're not lying to me, are you? And he was like, no, not at all. So basically I go in and I have to sign all these paperwork saying yes, you can perform surgery on me, anything happens, yes, blah blah blah, you know. And then I get to go to the photography department basically in Doncaster Hospital, and they take photos of my nose side profile and other side profile, and then I have to tilt my head back like this and sit with it weird, and then I have to spin my body around as well. And I've got all these photos taken, but bearing in mind it was in January, so COVID had just hit China, and obviously it was going across the country slowly, but we didn't really know about it. So then they said that I had a pre-op. So my pre-op was in May, so, and I was supposed to go on holiday in May, so I was going to cancel my pre-op anyway. But obviously I didn't go on holiday because of COVID. So obviously I was like, how do I have a pre-op in person when COVID's happening? So they actually rang me for the pre-op. So the lady rang me, she asked me if anything had changed previously. So like I had done at the hospital that day when I took photos of my nose, they took my bloods, they took my height, my weight, you know, made sure my blood pressure, everything was okay basically. And she just asked the same, if anything had changed, if I was on different medication, if I had gained weight, if I had grown in height, you know, the usual. So nothing had changed, so I said, yeah, that's fine, you know, don't worry. And I was like, well, in January they had said to me it'll now be 8 to 10 months. So I was like, oh, it's COVID, you know, it's going to be a lot longer than 8 to 10 months. So that would take it till now, September, October time. August, September, October. So I was not holding any hope. I was thinking this is going to happen next year, you know. And the pre-op lady said to me when I asked her on the phone, and she said because we're not taking on any new patients, then obviously I'll still be that 9 to 10 month waiting period, 8 to 10 month waiting period. So I was like, fair enough, okay, you know. And then, so 3 weeks ago basically, tomorrow it'll be, I get a call from work and it's a Doncaster number, but it's not saved on my phone. So I was like, you know what, I'll answer it. You know, I've been taking on loads of people for jobs at the moment. It might be somebody regarding a job, Doncaster Morrison's, I don't know. So I answer it and I'm like, hi, and she's like, hi, is this Ella Walton? I was like, yeah. And basically she said, oh, you've been on the waiting list to get surgery on your nose. This is obviously Doncaster Hospital calling from the ENT department. We're just wondering if you're able to have surgery on the 10th of September. So you're thinking, right, okay, the date today is the 15th. So it's already been, and I have nothing on my nose. So obviously at the time I was like, yeah, that's fine, you know, don't worry. So I let work know I have to cancel all the people coming in for interviews and everything, and I get isolated, I have to cancel going to uni, loads of things basically. And basically I'm waiting up for it, and then they ring me and they're like, oh, can we move it to the 7th? So 3 days before it's supposed to be, so the last Monday. And I was like, right, okay, yeah, that's fine, don't worry, we're isolating, you know, we've got to isolate because of me, because of COVID, so I don't get anything, no one can work. So that's fine, everyone's isolating, put it forward, okay. Then they ring me again 2 hours later and they're like, oh, can we move it to, I think it was 15th, 14th, so yesterday. Then they moved to the 14th, so I'm like, fair enough, okay, you know, it's 3 days after what they originally said, that's fair enough. And then when I get my letter come through, it's actually the 17th and it's my COVID test on the 14th, yesterday. So I was like, right, okay, it's a week later than it's supposed to be on the 10th, it's now on the 17th. So I'm like, right, they're dragging this out, I've got to isolate for another week. So it'll be 3 weeks literally tomorrow, and obviously you're supposed to isolate for 2 weeks. So I'm going a bit stir crazy, stuck in my room, stuck in the house, but I've got my hot tub to keep me company, and we've got a big projector that we watch movies on and films on, so it's not all bad, you know, it could be worse basically. Right, bit sidetracked. Right, so what I'll do is I'll talk to you a bit about obviously what my surgery consists of. So it isn't aesthetic, so it isn't because I don't like my nose or because I want to change my nose or anything, it is medical basically. So I have a deviated septum. So a deviated septum, so a septum is this piece in your nose, right here. And my septum isn't like this, straight on, it's sideways, it's crooked. That's what a deviated septum is. And because it's sideways and crooked, I cannot breathe out of one of my nostrils. See, it sounds different because I can't breathe out of one. When I'm laying down in bed, there's only one I can breathe out of. So obviously it makes it very difficult for me to do swimming, do sports, go to the gym, do any hobbies that I actually want to do because I cannot breathe. Dancing was very hard as well when I used to take up dancing because, you know, I'd sound like I was dying the whole time basically. So that's basically what a deviated septum is. Then when I went and saw the ENT surgeon, Dr. Ragavan, he asked if I had any trauma on my nose, here. And I've never had any trauma, you know, I cannot remember me being punched in the face, me being hurt or anything like that once since I was a child, you know. And I've been taking loratadine since I was 7, so my parents would have known if anything had happened to me, and so I have not had any trauma or anything. So basically he thinks that the dorsal hump on my nose and my deviated septum is causing my blockages, obviously in my pathways, for me to breathe, you know, in my sinuses as well underneath. So What they're going to do is they're going to do open surgery. So there's open and closed surgery. So closed surgery is basically where they don't cut anything open, they just do a small incision, like keyhole surgery, do a small incision and work it through there. Whereas open surgery is what I'm having, and basically what they'll do is they'll do a zigzagged line underneath my nose, between my two nostrils, zigzagged line, cut through, and they'll take up this piece of skin of my nose. Then they'll correct the septum, so rather than being like that, it's straight. And then what they'll do is they'll break this bone. So I watched so many different casualties and different videos, and even my friend Beth had shown me this TV show where people wanted a nose job and they had to watch the surgery, watch the procedure, and if they still wanted to go through with it, they'll put a green light or a red light. So I had watched the whole surgery through that video as well. Didn't even scream once, because if I want it doing, I'm going to have to deal with it, you know. I'll even be put under, so I won't have to deal with it, witness it physically, you know. It'll be happening to me. So I need to know what's happening to my body, to me, whilst I'm passed out on the surgery table, you know. So basically they cut a zigzag through here, lift the piece of skin up, correct the deviated septum so it's not deviated anymore, it's a septum, it's straight. And then what they'll do is like a big chisel basically, whack here, whack there, break my nose, you can actually hear it on the actual video of it breaking, and then they'll chisel down this piece of nose, this piece of bone here, they'll chisel it down so I no longer have a dorsal hump, and then they'll feed, obviously they'll put the skin back on, and then they'll put stitches where they've done this little incision. So obviously after my nose job I might have a scar here, or it depends on how neatly they do it. It might be the tiniest scar that you can't even notice, or it might not even scar, you know, because it might be hidden underneath my nose, where my nose is. So that's what the surgery is going to consist of. But because I also have allergies, rhinitis is called, so I'm allergic to cats, I'm allergic to long-haired dogs, I'm allergic to my own guinea pigs. Like, I was cleaning out my guinea pigs the other day and I was sneezing and sneezing and sneezing, and I actually had to take a Benadryl, like I mentioned previously, to make it stop, and about an hour later it had kicked in. So I'm allergic to fresh cut grass, anything, literally loads of things that consist of long hair or stuff that obviously can go up your nose and you can smell it, I'm allergic to. And when I sneeze about 10 times. So this is basically the septorhinoplasty booklet, which I was given from that private hospital, the Ramsey Hospital, which I was telling you about. So obviously it says that a septorhinoplasty, a nose job, is an operation to improve the appearance of your nose, rhinoplasty, and improve how you breathe through your nose, septoplasty. So it's a mixture of both. So it is aesthetic, but it is medical. So even though I was saying it isn't aesthetic, it is slightly. So you've got your nasal bone, your upper lateral cartilages, your septum and alar cartilages. So if you have a look on the photo, there is your septum. So that on me is not straight, and obviously on the photo it is. So obviously this is just talking through the benefits of surgery, you know, and there's a little of what the operation consists of and involve. So nasal bone's broken and moved in here, and the hump will be shaved down, so I was saying dorsal hump shaved down. Alar cartilages trimmed and lifted, so I didn't mention that. So this part of my nose will also be smaller. It will be swollen after surgery, so it might look bigger, but it will be smaller as well. The bridge of the nose remodelled, and then tip lifted and reshaped here as well. So obviously there is a lot involved in this, and it, like they said to me, it will be worth £5,000 to £12,000. That is a lot of money, and luckily I'm getting it on the NHS for free by Dr. Raghavan at Doncaster Hospital, because it is to help me breathe. It is medical. Even though it says it partly aesthetic, rhinoplasty and septoplasty, it is medical, so that's why I'm getting it for free. I've not gone to the doctors, I haven't gone to my GP crying saying I hate my nose, it gives me anxiety, anything like that. I have gone because I cannot breathe. Basically, I cannot do the hobbies, the exercises, the sports, what I want to do because of my nose. And I've been put on the waiting list for 2 years for this, and I've had to deal with my nose since I can remember, and I've had to take medication since I was 7. So it is not physical, it's not aesthetic, it is medical. So that is why I'm getting a 5 to 12 grand nose job for free, basically. So obviously through the rest of this it just talks about what the complications are, obviously redness, bruising, swelling, so it can be 2 to 3 weeks basically. So I have to isolate for 30 days after my surgery. So the lady on the phone said it would be 2 weeks obviously recovery and 2 weeks isolation as well before I can go back to work. So basically I know what to expect. So because they are breaking my bridge of my nose and the dorsal hump, I am going to have bruising here. It'll be yellow, it'll be blue, it'll be black. It's different for everybody basically. People say drink pineapple juice, but unfortunately I'm allergic to pineapple, so I cannot do that, you know. So obviously in my next couple of videos I'm going to look like death basically with a broken face, but in the long run it should be okay for me to breathe. The doctor did say, Dr. Regvan said that it cannot be, he might not be able to sort my allergies because it's allergies, you know, it is inside my nose, it's red and swollen because of my allergies, so he might not be able to sort that, but he can sort my breathing. So I think breathing and being able to just stop me sneezing, breathing better than sneezing, definitely, 100%. So obviously in here it says returning to normal activities, do not drive, you know, do not drink alcohol, stuff in the future, you know. Apparently it takes a year for the nose to look completely okay after surgery, for it to be what you wanted ideally when the surgeon showed you this is what I can do compared to what your nose was. The year is basically to stop swelling, for your nose to just do the correct of what it's supposed to be. So obviously my surgery is on Thursday, it's in 2 weeks time. I am very nervous. I wouldn't be as nervous if I was going with my family, but because of COVID I have to go in the hospital on my own, and I'm quite worried they cannot hold my hand or anything like that, so I am worried about that, and obviously I've got to wear a mask as well, so I'm worried about that. So if it didn't happen during COVID, I don't think I would be having this operation anyway. I think I would have to wait even longer than I've already waited because they're getting fit and healthy people in for this operation basically. So getting it over and done with. So I'm having to go in on my own, have a locker on my own, put a gown on, you know, wear suitable clothes, come over, obviously come round from surgery, make sure I can let my parents know to pick me up, make sure I'm in a recovery room and I'm okay, you know. Like my friend Lauren, she's had it done in 2011, and she said that, no, 2014, she said that she was thrown up and bruised eyes and she felt like death and she felt awful. And so because I've got that experience from her, I know what to expect, and I've watched lots of videos on it as well. I'm not going into it thinking, oh, you know, it's going to be okay, it'll be fine. I know what to expect. I know I'm going to be in a lot of pain for 2 weeks. I know that. And obviously I know I'm going to have packing up my nose, and I know I'm going to have gauze here as well, and apparently the packing, according to Lauren, hurts like mad. She said it took her 2 hours to get it out her nose because it hurt that much. So, and other people have told me that as well. So basically I know what to expect, and obviously in my next video I will show you what my nose is going to look like. So this is my pre-surgery video basically, and then in the next video you'll see my post-surgery one. Thank you for watching, and I hope you watch the rest of my videos.